Well, I guess it started with Napalm Death. You know, they were pretty much one of the first bands in the world to play the way they do, and like they influenced most of the other bands on the label, as well as all the grindcore bands in the world, really. And I got to know them through just with friends with them, basically, in '86, and so they made a demo tape, and no one else would touch it, no other labels or anything. So I thought, well, you know, I loved it, so I put it out, and that was their first album, Scum. After that, you know, that became the blueprint for most of the other bands around.
This is Napalm Death on what we can say a Tuesday afternoon in Birmingham by the canal. As you can see, great setting, chuffed and weakened at the same time. Chuffed means I'm a totally happy person. I mean, when we're chuffed, you know we're chuffed. When we're pinged, well...
That's slightly too...
That's like, slightly like, that's like, you're not happy, you're pinging bad. Someone has pinged you, they've pissed you off. Weakened, well, that is when you're like, you're gone to bits.
You're ready for a rhino charge.
You're ready for rhino charge, you know.
I was in Terrorizer. I was in a band called Righteous Pigs. We just sort of met them through like tape trading, I guess, magazines, and just writing and sending tapes and just saying like chuff with napalm and stuff like that.
Napalm was sort of, I guess, promoted in such a fashion that not forced down people's throats, but it was in places where, you know, people could see it, and they sort of thought, well, what's this, like the fastest band in the world, sort of thing, in quotes.
We sort of abandon musical standards. We don't write songs to, you know, the rock sort of format. I mean, I think we're pretty much the end of the line. I don't think you're going to get a band that's going to go more extreme than us.
My dad, he got me into this sort of thing, you know what I mean, starting from the early extremes like Motorhead and stuff. And my dad, like, he understands everything about napalm, you know what I mean. He doesn't just like it just because, you know, I've taken active part in the band. He actually is into the music sort of thing, and he understands it.
My dad doesn't understand it. He never will.
Yeah.
He'll never understand it. Oh, well, his comment is, turn it down, turn that bass down, that's stupid.
Yeah,
what sort of vocals are them? I'm getting more and more chuffed. I don't know, I'm feeling something inside. I don't know what it is. So something wants to break out, but it's a chuffed feeling. So I'm so chuffed about everything, and I don't know what else I can say. I'm just bloody chuffed. The music we play, I mean, I don't think you can get any more extreme. To speed-wise, it's the fastest. I'm proud to say it's the fastest. You know, nothing can be faster. Sorry, Dave, you know what I mean, but, you know, it's just not fast enough, mate.
never going to be any hint of melody in Napalm, you know what I mean? It's something that I wouldn't personally like to sort of go into because it bore the fucking tits off me. I mean, we just write it naturally, you know what I mean? We don't strive to do anything. I mean, some songs could, you know, turn out to be like 2 minutes long, and then we'll do one, it'll be a minute long, and whatever, you know what I mean? There's such a diversity of lengths. It's just whatever we're happy with, we'll just say, right, just go for it, and I'll go away with the tape and just write the lyrics over the top, sort of thing. People just are more interested in restraining themselves these days instead of going fucking mad, like. And you just lose a certain amount in the music if you do that, I think.
I'd say things have got a lot more aggressive music style. No, it's
Yeah.
you know, the songs are a lot longer, but that doesn't mean, you know, anything's changed. There's a lot more going on with the songs now. Whereas before we'd be doing, like, the average song was anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute. I mean, well, you can only fit so much into that, you know, but now we've got songs up to, I guess, 3.5, 4 minutes, which I guess is going to be the maximum. I mean, we can fit a lot more into that nowadays, and there's just a lot more going on. I've only got one hobby, getting tattooed. My legs, my back and my arms. I mean, I'm totally into it. John Foster Tattoo Studio, Birmingham, Selly.
Show me tattoos, mate. Show them a few.
Show the back.
If you want to have a look, you know, I mean, fucking...
Yeah,
I guess...
now this is punk, this one on the back.
Guess like my arms.
That is
back.
a classic.
You know what I mean,
Taken
fucking-
from a really old, I guess, famous
You know,
punk painting.
I've got shit on my legs, you know what I mean, fucking... I guess all over, really, you know what I mean. This leg as well, fucking... I'm working on this, fucking... I guess, you know, all over. I'm going for a full Japanese bodysuit, then I'll be chuffed. Until I'm... Except for my face, hands, feet. That's where it stops.
You haven't mentioned your willy.
Nah, nothing on the dick either. My ass, that's going to be tattooed.
I mean, what really happened was there were a few bands in America that English bands were picking up on, but they were like, I mean, bands like Siege, a Boston band, and a band called Repulsion. I mean, they were like very unknown in America, but the demo tapes sort of made it over to England, and bands like Napalm Death and Carcass and stuff. were real big fans of that style, you know. And it just came about that they got noticed quicker than some of these bands in America. You know, they put records out, whereas the early American bands didn't really make it onto vinyl. It was like an underground scene, you know, where people would send each other tapes around, and at first no record labels were interested in it. It was all done on a kind of tape trading type of circuit, which, you know, got the music around really well, actually. And a lot of the bands that we have on the label now that are quite well known, I mean, they do actually owe their early notoriety to people that were taping their tapes around and stuff, and just trading it around. Bands like Morbid Angel were like really well known before they even had a record out, you know. We put their album out in '89, in the summer of '89, but they were around from '84 or so, and lots of people had their tapes even before they made a record, so they were already well known and established almost before their actual album came out.
Hi, I'm David Vincent, bassist and vocalist for Morbid Angel. By the time that we got to the concrete lineup, which we have now, consisting of myself, Pete Sandoval on drums, and Trey and Richard both on guitar, this is really the prime Morbid Angel lineup. The Grindcore tour we did with Napalm Death and added Carcass and Bolt Thrower for the UK went over real well. It was our first European tour. It gave us a chance to be exposed to European audiences, and it gave them a chance to see us for the first time. And I think, although we didn't make an awful lot of money, really didn't make a lot of anything besides got sick and got pissed every night. And Napalm Death are just a bunch of crazy guys, man. I've never toured with any band that is more intense than they are. They're just incredible. We have stuff that's very fast that would maybe make us a bit grinding. We've got some stuff that's kind of classical sounding. Labels really have not always meant a whole lot to me. I think it's really what you do, and labels are for the press more than anything else. We shot a live video out of a lot of footage that was taken on the Grindcore tour, predominantly at Rock City in Nottingham, and we put a video together for the song Immortal Rights, which is the first track on Altars of Madness. It's, well, primarily about kind of a seance meditative ritual in which you're shedding the outer skin and going into the inner skin. I've been accused of all kinds of things in my time. Satanic is just one of them. Satanism could be selfism or humanism very easily. And this idea of actually worshiping the devil, okay, as opposed to worshiping Christ, you know, just turning that around, and anything that would be good would be bad, and then only in doing that, well, it may be right for some people. I don't see much logic in it. I don't find it to be very intelligent. I still find it having a master over the self. I think the planet is headed for quite an uproar. Both, well, really resources are getting used up at such a quick rate. We have such a population explosion. And I think, actually, I think the world is really starting to wake up in a lot of ways. This can be the subconscious, this could be the conscious. This is what you take in or what's given to you every day. And this is what you think in response deep inside to what you see. And this is the room that you have to live your life. And you can live your life as a complete raving lunatic and idiot, or you can live your life as a total mainstream flowing kind of person. And for the most part, I tend to live my life over here, but I know the rules of this game, and I can kind of float myself over this way and do what I need to, and then kind of go back to where I feel more comfortable. Kind of like walking through a cafeteria line. I could easily be a robot and go through with my tray and allow them to put on whatever they're going to put on and take that back and eat it and not think about it. And when I found out that I really didn't like some of those things, then I felt more inclined to go to a self-service place where I could put on my plate what I wanted and leave the rest.
Well, Morbid Angel were a bit different, really. I mean, they were one of the first American bands that we signed, and they were also one of the first bands that we signed that were totally involved in the death metal scene, you know, especially the one in Florida, which is, you know, happening right now. There's tons of bands there who came out of that particular scene.
Well, the grindcore scene is kind of like, it's all mixed in together. You've got like some of your hardcore people still, you know, that are into punk and stuff, and they like grindcore a lot. Then you have your people that are into the heavier thrash stuff that, you know, like grindcore too. So it's kind of like a crossover type thing. But I think generally a lot of people that would listen to like Metallica and stuff aren't into grindcore yet here. But over in Europe, like, you know, your whole crowd will be always just into grindcore. You know, they're all like death metal crowds and stuff over there. A lot of bands have been using keyboards in the studio and like live tapes and stuff like that for a really long time. You know, as far as I can remember back, you know, Merciful Fate, bands like that, they use keyboards. And to me, you know, it just, we're like, I guess, the only band that actually has a keyboard player like all the time.
I've had people come up to me like in Europe and go, man, you know, I'm so pissed off because I wanted to put keyboards in the band that we were doing a year ago, and I said, no, you know, it's not the thing, and then here comes your album, you know, and it's like, and it's there, and it's accepted, and they're kicking themselves in the ass for not having done it before, you know. It's really the only thing that's limited is movement, as far as being able to move around, you know, a whole lot. But since I'm pretty much locked behind there anyway, I'm limited to just thrashing where I'm at, so it doesn't matter if I'm on 3 feet or, you know, a huge stage.
I used to play Morbid Angel, and that was like back in 84 to 86, you know. Well, I think basically the Tampa and Florida whole scene is what happened. It started a long time ago, like the early 80s with bands like Nasty Savage and Death and Morbid Angel and Savatage. And what's happened is, like, the people have been into that kind of music for quite a long time, and they're just like used to it, and it breeds a lot of really good musicians there that want to do that kind of music.
Whenever anybody tells me they're thinking about moving their band down to Florida, I say, hey, you know, it couldn't hurt. Nocturnus is trying to get into the fantasy fiction with the evil, but also in various locations, you know, and any kind of bizarre locations we can like come up with and create a sonic image of that, you know.
Our songs are more like short stories, and they're all kept at a very fictional level, to where it's like, you know, somebody can't actually go out and, you know, build a time machine in their backyard and go back in time, you know. I mean, it's like when you have some bands that are talking about sacrificing people or whatever, you know, it's like, you know, people can actually go out and do that stuff, and that's where, you know, it gets, there's the line that you draw between, you know, real life and fantasy.
What we're really telling people is just, you know, go out and use your own strengths and you know, make your own way in this world, you know, basically. And that's like the real thrust of it. I mean, we do take a pretty brutal swing at Christ and his followers in a way, but really it's just like taking a swipe at them to try to, you know, bite them down a notch to show that that's really not, you know, an all-inclusive thing that people just need to like blindly follow. Anything, any religion, Satanism, Christianity, anything like that.
There's only so fast you can play, and there's only so heavy you can be without it all sounding the same, or without it just being a blur. So, you know, maybe we've opened up a whole new branch of direction of way to go with the music, you know, where these people would never listen to something with keyboards before. Now they're listening to that and they're going, well, yeah, that's pretty good, it's working, you know, and they're opening their mind up and expanding this music so it doesn't get closed in into one, you know, genre or whatever, you know. It's just like, as long as it keeps expanding and bands keep experimenting and doing different things, it's not going to die out.
You know, it seems to go to and fro across the Atlantic. It started with a few bands in America that never got record deals, but were like pretty influential on the new scene starting in England. You know, this kind of grind scene, and bands like Carcass, Napalm Death, Unseen Terror, who were around at the early days. They got their records out through me, whereas a lot of other record labels wouldn't have even bothered touching them. You know, it's like, this is noise. You know, what can we do with that? It doesn't sell. But that didn't really bother me. You know, I was just into the music and the sound, and it just seemed natural that we put their records out, you know.
Some bands you can put in categories, but I think it's silly trying to put people who you're not too sure about into categories. I'd rather bridge a scene if I could, and just have people call us Paradise Lost rather than saying, oh, they're a death metal band, they're whatever.
It's far too limiting.
Tags are too limiting.
The grindcore tags far too limiting. I mean, you don't have to start to say the word and like put people off who might be into it, you know, if there wasn't that kind of tag there.
With the newer stuff, we try to put the melody and songwriting back into this kind of music because it's losing it.
The power, realism, is only upon the earth will fly. Burst upon memories as a law beckons us to judgment. Degeneration is most as the mortality coil is weaker. The pain is lost. Now leave the ruined world to your God.
I've got to be really, really miserable to write songs. I can't be in a good mood, I've got to be really pissed off. Well, when I've got to pay rent at the beginning of the month, that depresses me. And if the dog has a shit in the kitchen, that really depresses me. Bad headaches and when I'm drunk. When Mum and Dad got killed in a car crash, that really put a down on it, that one. No, they didn't really, I'm kidding. All kinds of things, really. Just life. I don't want to get throat cancer. And I've heard people tell me about you have little things cut off back of your throat. Nodules. And because I heard George Michael had it done, so I've got to go and get it done too, I think. But no, I do worry about it actually. So I try not to overdo it because you can really overdo it and make us split your blood vessels in your eyes and you get like blood clots down the side of you. That's quite nasty.
It's only happened once or twice.
So. My eyeball actually popped out once. It actually fell onto the stage and I managed to pick it up and put it back in before Greg trod on it. Milton's poem, Paradise Lost, is about the confrontation between good and evil. I used to worship the devil in 1982, and I used to have upside-down crosses painted on my bedroom walls.
And they worshipped Venom.
I worshipped Venom, and Satan as well.
One and the same, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Feel sexy after our shows.
Sexy and moist. And
moist.
Warm. And
you know, fluffy.
And direct. With a touch of sweat.
Direct.
But apart from that, pretty damn moist.
Grind can be defined as a death metal with a thoughtful edge. It's usually got a lot of thought into it, something about overpopulation, problems of the world, death. Certainly.
Genocide.
Genocide.
We all like genocide.
Couldn't
live without genocide, eh?
A lot of good vegans out there.
Yeah, yeah. These bands, it's strange, they're vegan. I mean, they're hippies. They're just dirty hippies playing very loud music.
Basically, we consider that the world is a reflection of people's minds. And if you look at the world being in a very sorry state, surely that's a reflection of our minds. So if we adjust our minds, perhaps we can adjust the world. That's our outlook. That's what we try and do.
This one's called Raise Against Time. You don't know it, you're lying.
Grindcore's only it's a shame that things have to turn into fashionable orientated. It's a shame. But there again, if this short period of time people, whilst it's in fashion, listen to it and appreciate it, perhaps learn from it, because they haven't experienced it before. Even when this fashion goes, these thoughts, these feelings might stay. I mean, we're around from the early punk days, and we were all punks, but it's still true to our hearts. And punk's not exactly fashionable now, but it's still in our hearts. You've got to progress with the times, musically as well as mentally.
don't want it too accessible, otherwise people are going to hear it once and think, yeah, I've heard that, I know what they sound like. You need people to listen again, and that way the lyrics will come into play if they bother to take further interest. Just keeping the guitars at the right level of dirtiness, really. You don't want it too clean at all, otherwise, yeah, we're going to end up sounding like Bon Jovi or something ridiculous.
If I write a riff, I'm never actually satisfied with it unless it actually makes me feel a little bit uneasy or something like that. Unless it evokes a real reaction in me, I can't see the point of playing it to people, really.
Well, basically, you're conditioned by the world. Racism, how we consider other people, how our parents consider ethnic minorities is rubbed off on their children. Our parents condition us in these ways.
Religion?
Religion is a prime example, although I must state, I feel deeply for religion. Not all religions, specific religions. Sexism, basically ignorance. Our minds have made us ignorant. They've led us into ignorance. Our minds have to get us back out of ignorance. We must be accountable for ourselves. I must stress that nothing we do is drug-orientated in any way. We just simply, that is restrictive. This is a totally pure state of mind that we're trying to achieve. Not influenced by any means of drugs. That's restrictive. That's escapism. And we have to be realistic. It's hard to progress, it's hard to sacrifice, but once you understand that what you give, you get back, it makes the giving more worthwhile. But having said that, that just works for me. For other people, find your own methods. Follow your method and achieve the result it serves.
When thrash started, you had people, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and all that came out, and I was into those bands from day one. I thought they were excellent, and especially Slayer. They just blew me away when I saw them in London and stuff. And people were just saying, "Oh, it's noise. It's not music. It's just bullshit. It's not singing." But we knew at the time that Napalm Death and stuff make Slayer sound like Bon Jovi, really. The way the vocals sound and the way the instruments just go full tilt. But it's just taken people a while to kind of catch on, because thrash fans, they're always looking for something heavier, something faster, something more extreme. They always will, There's just some kind of attitude that defines the bands, really. It's and a vague kind of sound, but there's room for innovation and experimentation within the whole scene. And you've got bands like Godflesh who use a drum machine, and they have really heavy riffs. Nowadays they're getting a bit more experimental with their sound, like using samplers and stuff.
Check. 2.
I'm
Justin Broderick. I'm guitar and vocals for Godflesh.
I'm Paul Neville and I play guitar for Godflesh, and this is Los Angeles.
And we're about to play the Country Club, California, Los Angeles. We're probably the heaviest thing people are ever going to hear in a coherent sense. I mean, there's loads of bands that just tune down and like, but like we've actually got sound there and it's actually unique and it is fucking heavy. We just present people with a lot of harsh, vivid visuals that we can relate to, of things we really like, and then just present it to people we amalgamate all this stuff and then just shove it in people's faces and, oh, what do you think? And we're not saying to people, think this, we're saying, what do you think? So we're trying to provoke a reaction. My existence is based upon like a sort of paranoid outlook on things, but I see like paranoia as awareness in a sort of similar. I mean, basically there is no dividing line really. I guess I see being totally paranoid as being totally aware.
We just like intense images, something that's like really strong.
Yeah, everything we use is intense and extreme because that's the only things we can relate to is extremities. The press in England, yeah, has been really, really favourable, and in Europe in general. The press in America is probably even more favourable, I think, in a way. I think we're getting better press in the States. We're getting better received. Slayer comes bursting on him.
That's all right.
That's good. Slayer just burst in on it. It's pretty cool, actually. Our bass player, I mean, he listens to Beach Boys religiously. I mean, he loves the Beach Boys. I mean, he collects all the CDs. He loves the Beach Boys. And that's probably the most extreme, far-away thing we could think of. But then again, in a lot of the purity in their sound and stuff, the way they do things is probably very close to what we do sometimes. We played with Killdozer once. I don't know if you're familiar with people are familiar with Killdozer, but we played like a lot louder than Killdozer, and we played with like something like 8,000 watts total full power. And we know of one person in the audience who actually lost their hearing that night totally. There was apparently a couple of women who actually orgasmed through the volume. I don't know, I'd like to add thanks to Hard and Heavy for being on this video, because I mean, we probably don't fit into the whole genre really that well. But it's great to see that we are. I mean, this has crossed over instantly already. This is causing something which is different. And something to add is just for people to start appreciating and opening their heads to something unusual. You know, for people who just solely listen to metal who are watching this video, I'd like them to listen to Godflesh and just appreciate something which is more mind-numbingly heavy. If people want heaviness, and they've got it here. I mean, there's nothing heavier. But we're not saying that on a sort of, we're the heaviest band in the world. We're not going for that angle. We're just going for, we're Godflesh, and this is what we do.